how does Google Analytics integrate with your website?
I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe you could clarify. Are they asking like the technical aspect of how it integrates, or what place it
More
has
of, I
within
think,
it?
the benefits that you can get while coordinating Google Analytics. I know that we've kind of done that with some people where you can kind of see some of the data as far as
Yeah.
how people are getting there, how data searching.
Sure.
Aside from, obviously, we could have Matt on and do the technical aspects of actually what's going on. But I
Yeah.
think for the question for you specifically is, how can we benefit from having Google integrated into our website?
Got it. So, visibility of what's happening with your marketing efforts is the number one thing I would say. I mean, whenever you're spending money, you want to be able to track it, whether that's on the back end of Meta and you're tracking, your impression share, you're tracking your clicks, you're tracking your conversion rate, you're tracking all those different things, or on Google Analytics when you're tracking what's actually happening on your website. Because what Google Analytics allows you to do is track what's happening when people come to your website, what pages they're visiting, how long they stay, if they're leaving, if you're getting an unusual amount of bounces from a particular page, people are leaving from that particular page. It might be an indication that something's wrong with that page or the page isn't engaging. So visibility of what's happening is crucial because, again, when you're spending money, yes, you're spending money to try to get results, no question, but you're also spending money to collect data because that's going to allow you, if you spend $10 today and you collect data, it's going to allow you to spend the next $10 smarter because you're learning from, we were just talking a minute ago about learning from, and as an agency or working with an agency, them having a dialogue or a library of expertise. Every dollar you spend should be buying you information, should be so that the next dollar you spend, you can spend wiser than you spent the last dollar. And that's a never-ending process. What doesn't matter whether you've been marketing for 10 years or 10 minutes, you will always continue to learn. And I am a big believer in being data-driven. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I say. The data tells the story, and the data doesn't lie. If I tell you something's going to work and the data shows that it's not working, it doesn't matter what I say. The data is proving me wrong. I mean, the data is not doing what I said it was going to do. So the reason to have Google Analytics integrated into your website or some sort of analytics software is so that you can understand what's happening when you run advertisement or even when you run organic posts and things like that. What's happening when you bring people to your website? And that could be an indication of whether your ads are your ads, like if somebody arrives at your website and they don't find what they expected to find, it could be that your ads led people down a certain road and then you didn't bring them to the place that they thought they were going to be. Could be that your website page is not engaging, which means they got there, you got them there, but then they bailed on you. So that data can really help you start to analyze what's happening, and hopefully it makes you smarter so that you could either make changes to your advertising, make changes to your website, or again, primarily just spend the next dollar smarter than you spent the one before it.
No, I think that nailed it on the head. I was going to kind of echo the thought of, if you're bringing somebody to a page and you kind of, like you said, it's having that data to know what brought them there, how long they stayed. And especially too, it's if you're a tint shop or if you're car customs and you have PPF and you have vinyl and you have ceramic coatings and window tint, you can kind of see, like you said, what's working, what pages kind of have what's pulling people in, and then you can kind of mirror that across other pages and try to kind of, like you said, it's a constant battle of trying to make sure what's working and how are people getting there, how are they staying, like are they ending up becoming a lead or not. I think those are definitely the data points that you want to have by having some sort of an integration, or just plain and simple understanding the data that's given to you by whatever platform that you're using. And so and having time to read it and understand what's going on. So, or having somebody that can feed it back to you.
I think you have to always be looking at what you're doing. It doesn't matter, if you're running ads on Meta, if you're doing organic things, if you're spending money on SEO, if you're spending money on Google AdWords, you always have to be looking at it and saying, and it always is changing. I mean, things are always changing. You always have to be tweaking on what you're doing. And if you don't have the mechanism to understand what's happening today, you can't make those adjustments that you need to. So whether it's Google Analytics, whether it's Facebook Ads Manager or Meta Ads Manager, I guess you could call it, or Google AdWords and the back end of that and understanding what's going on back there, data is your friend. And if you aren't collecting data, or if you're not looking at the data, you're flying blind, and you might occasionally, the old saying, a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. You may have some success, but you might be spending a lot more than you need to get that success because you're not utilizing the data at your disposal. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's kind of one of those things too. We want to, by doing these, obviously, hopefully people kind of look into what they're doing a little bit more versus just kind of throwing money at the wall just because they have a set budget and I just want to put this money towards something and I'm not going to think about it. But yet it's like, hey, you might be using a fifth of that money to get the same amount of people coming into your shop or business. So it's just, if you can kind of take time and try to understand it, do your research, look up stuff on YouTube if you don't know something, because that's the way I learn. It's kind of, if I don't know something, I'm going to at least figure out at least a way to understand it a little bit better. And then I can use that information and move forward.